to buy a Mustang, but you don't know whether to stretch for the V8 or stick with the 4-cylinder. Look, straight up, yes, the V8 is the more desirable option. It's the one that you do want. But when it comes to spending your own money, you know, that's a bit of a different question. The 4-cylinder is more economical for sure when you're cruising along. So if you're doing a lot of cruising and touring around, then the 4-cylinder does make sense. But just because it's a 4-cylinder doesn't mean it's slow. This is still a proper sports car. As you'll see in the upcoming performance test, it's not slow at all. It's actually very quick. You can only get the 4-cylinder in automatic form, so if you are after a manual transmission, you do need to step up to the V8. But aside from that, you are getting pretty much all of the functionality of the V8 in terms of that muscle car appeal. Like you've got track apps here, you've got 4 different exhaust modes, then you go back to that track apps page. You've got a drift handbrake, so you just pull the handbrake and it's sort of spring loaded and drops back down again. You've got a line lock function as well, allowing you to spin the rear tyres with the front brakes clamped for 15 seconds to warm up the tyres or whatever. And then you've got drag strip mode, track mode for driving modes, sport mode as well. You've got heaps of functionality here, and you can spend days playing around with this sort of stuff, pretty much like you can with the V8. The main thing you're missing out on, or at least initially, is the engine sound. So I'll just slow down a bit. We'll put it back in the, I'll put it in the race exhaust mode, floor it. Yeah, it's got some artificial sound coming through, but it's not as glorious as the V8. Now, to be honest, there's not a huge difference between the different exhaust modes, or at least the 2 last ones, the sport and the race. I'll put it in the quiet mode and show you the difference. So floor it. Yeah, that's definitely more engine sound and less of the fake sound coming through the speakers or whatever. Whereas when you put it in the race mode and the sport mode, straight away you can kind of hear it turn on. It's a bit electronic. I'll just slow down and floor it again in sport mode. See, to me that kind of sounds the same as race mode. So it's not a huge difference. But anyway, you do have some adjustment there you can play around with. And then on the outside, yeah, this looks pretty much like the V8. There are a few little trimming details like the badges, especially on the back. As before, there's just some little bits and pieces. The front grille is a little bit different that, you know, the fans will be able to pick up straight away, but the overall silhouette and the body, the platform, everything else is exactly the same as the V8. You can still option this up with different color packs and all that sort of thing. This has got the black racing stripes across the middle. So it looks, you know, has that definite muscle car look. And this example's got the full Brembo brakes, quad outlet exhaust as well. So you are pretty much getting the full Mustang experience aside from the V8. An advantage of the 4-cylinder though, it is lighter in weight overall, and especially over the front end. So the nose points in a bit sharper, although I'm not a huge fan of the steering in the Mustang. I never really was. It's just not that communicative. I don't fully understand what's going on with the front wheels. Like, obviously I know where I'm turning, but compared with some other sports cars that are on the market, yeah, this is just a little bit vague and a bit heavy set. The handling's not bad though, it's absorbing the bumps. This is a sports car at the end of the day, but the top spec models do have a better ride. They've got the Magna Ride suspension as well, so it's adjustable, and it can, you know, you put it into sport mode, it becomes a bit firmer if you're on a nice road or a track. Then you can put it back into the relaxed mode when you're cruising along dodgy country roads like this. Inside is just the same as the V8 though. You've got the twin screens running across. There's some physical buttons down below here, the Mustang page, and it brings you up to this sort of adjustment page. You've got traction control and your auto stop start on and off, and your start button, that's it. So to access climate control, you've got this little panel down on the bottom of the touch screen here. It's okay, it's not quite as good as just separate physical controls in my opinion, but at least it's always there. So you can adjust the fan speed, turn the aircon on and off right there. You don't have to dive into a menu to access that. So that is good, I think. But you do have nice comfy seats, sporty seats, got good side bolstering, and then a little bit of space in the back. Like, they're not huge rear seats, but you can use them for short trips and so on, or for the kids. But you just got to be mindful that the rear windscreen is over your head, so you're getting the sun beaming down on your head if you are doing a long trip. I'm on my way to the usual winding road, so we can do a bit of a handling test, and then we'll do the performance testing as well. Okay, firstly, yeah, the steering is not as precise as I would like, and it's not as precise as other sports cars in this class, like the MX-5, Toyota 86, Subaru BRZ, and whatnot. The steering also has a bit of a dead center, like a dead bit in the middle, like in the center, and you've got a bit of play there where nothing's happening, to the point where I was driving along before on a country road, straight country road, and I was just sort of letting it sit there. Well, I was just driving straight, and the lane keep assist came up and said, put your hands on the steering wheel, where I did. I was just had both hands on there, but because it was kind of floating in that middle bit, it thought that there was no tension on the wheel. But yeah, it just makes it not as precise when you're going down a nice winding road like this. We'll put it into the track mode, just because why not. There is a sport mode as well, a kind of intermediate mode. You've also got manual paddle shifters, so you just push the gear lever down into M, and it locks it into a manual mode. The gearbox is definitely really sharp in terms of the gear shifting, but it's a little bit delayed when you actually push the pedal. As you'll see in the upcoming performance test, it actually chirps into third gear when you're in the drag strip mode and giving it full throttle. There's nothing wrong with the actual gear shift speed, it's just the paddle shift response. Yeah, the engine sounds a little bit rough in my opinion. It definitely sounds aggressive, and it sounds like it has lots of power, but just doesn't have that bark of a kind of, you know, hot hatch 2-litre turbo engine. It's more of a rough, deeper howl or growl. But it's still relatively fun to drive. Yeah, downshifting then, it kind of was a bit delayed. As full throttle, a lot of whooshing sounds. Back to third. Plenty of traction from the tyres, so it doesn't have staggered width tyres on the 4-cylinder at least. 255s on the front and back, which are pretty fat. That's, you know, a pretty fat tyre to have, especially on the front. Yeah, third and second gear seem a bit distant. Like right now I want to change back to second, because that's what I usually would do at this part of the road in a, you know, 6, 7 or 8 speed, whereas this, because it's got 10 gears, third gear is kind of like a typical second that maybe just winds out a little bit further. You've just got to change your mindset a little bit there and get used to it, I guess, which I'm not used to it, so that's probably why. But yeah, third gear picks up really well. It's like an extended second, I reckon. Definitely good performance and good speed. It's just the soundtrack, I think, is a little bit, yeah, a little bit of a letdown. It's not as exciting, obviously, as the V8, but still, yeah, as I said, it's still very enthusiastic. Feels like you're driving something special. Here we go, back to second. We're going back up. Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with the speed. It's feels quick, and it is quick. It's got decent low-end grunt as well. Plenty of traction. That was full throttle around there, and it just gripped up nicely. Yeah, look, I think if you want the pure V8 sports car, you know, characteristics, then obviously you're going to go with the V8. But if you want everything but the fuel consumption, and you don't really care about the V8 performance, it's not even V8 performance actually, it's pretty much all down to the sound, because as you'll see coming up, this is really quick, it's not slow. So you're not missing out on that much performance, you're just missing out on the sound and I guess that character of the V8. This does have what feels like a little bit of turbo lag, or there's some lag. It might not be turbo lag, but there's some lag between when I push my foot down and when the engine responds and gives me what it has. I'm not 100% if it's turbo lag, because these new transmissions and so on, they're programmed to be fail-safe, and you know, they might have a little bit of a delay built in there just so you don't break something or break the transmission, or you know, so it doesn't kick out sideways suddenly, something like that. I don't know, but there is definitely a little bit of a lag compared with the V8. Naturally aspirated, obviously, the V8, so it's just got acceleration straight away. But aside from that, you're getting pretty much everything that the V8 Mustang offers, except you're getting better fuel economy. So I'm averaging 10.4 litres per 100 at the moment, but I reckon you could get that down into the 9s pretty easily with regular casual driving. Like if you go for a cruise along the beach or something like that, boulevard or a nice coastal road, this will definitely drink less fuel than the V8 in the same conditions. You've got quite a few gauges and things to play around with, live tyre pressure monitoring, and then your cylinder head temp and all sorts of stuff there. So as I said, you've still got all of the gadgets and gizmos to play around with as the V8, maybe just for a few things. And then yeah, so you can enjoy the experience of just being in the vehicle and playing around with the different settings. All right, let's head out now to the private road and do some performance testing and see what it goes like.